How we doing? How we doing? This is Destination Denver, Colorado, and today, Aurora, Colorado. The third largest city in all of Colorado, filled with both good and bad reputations that are some deserved and some not. But today we're going to talk about 10 reasons to move to Aurora, Colorado, and we're starting right now. All right, this is Destination Denver, Colorado. I am Roast Jimmy Robertson. Listen, when we're talking about Aurora, Colorado, again, the third largest city in all of Colorado, the first thing is, as you start to Google it, as you start to research, you're going to see part of Aurora's reputation pop up right away. And it has a long-standing reputation. Poverty, crime, dangerous areas. And listen, there are areas of Aurora that you're going to check out, that you're going to drive around, and you're probably going to get a pretty quick feeling for, this is not the area I want to be in. Now, at the same time, we're talking about a suburb that is massive in size. And again, you could say suburb, you could say city. Aurora stretches north of Denver, and as it's the eastern suburb of Denver, it also stretches out into the plains of Colorado. I mean, you start getting pretty Kansas-y as you get farther east. And it stretches as far south as Highlands Ranch, Centennial, Greenwood Village. It is a massive suburb. So to make any type of blanket statement about Aurora is just inaccurate on its face. There are some areas of Aurora that are exquisite, places that are highly desirable, expensive, gorgeous, you name it. There are places that are sketchy. There are areas that you are going to want to avoid. Both are true. So you can make the blanket statement on either one and be accurate in one spot and very inaccurate in the other. So certainly one of the key factors that lead people to start looking at Aurora is affordability. And that's a word that's really tricky to use in Colorado and certainly in the Denver metro, but Aurora has it going for it. Now, because Aurora is on the east side of town, there is a premium for the most part for living on the west side of town that is west of I-25. And so because of that, that's for people who want to be closer to the mountains, they want the quicker access. For people that don't necessarily have to have the mountains right outside their door, or they don't need to have a 15-minute drive to the mountains, they can find certainly cheaper rent on the east side of town in Aurora, and they can find cheaper homes. And you will see homes, I mean, at times, $100,000, 6 figures lower for a similar home in an Aurora than you might find in western suburbs like Arvada, Lakewood, or Littleton. And again, we're not talking about a lower quality of home. We're not talking about a lower quality of neighborhood. We're talking about that price point difference between the proximity to the mountains, maybe those views, and living in the east side of town. So for folks who aren't really concerned about having that coffee with the mountain view first thing in the morning and that quick 10-minute drive, Aurora gets really high on their list. Another big reason people will look to Aurora is its high-class medical facilities and its jobs. There are a ton of economic features to Aurora. Among them, you have the Anschutz Medical Campus, which is just a behemoth of innovation. You've got the University of Colorado Hospital, you've got Children's Hospital of Colorado, you've got a massive VA hospital there in that complex. And then alongside of all of this, you've got Buckley Space Force Base right there. So this huge hub of economics, jobs in that medical space. And this has really created this rock-solid economic foundation for the city. I mean, it has transformed parts of Aurora, and you're starting to see that reverberate, use that word, throughout the community. And again, for residents, it means a couple things. It means you have immediate access to some of the best medical facilities, again, whether you're civilian, children, VA, you name it, in the entire state. Second, it creates a vast and very stable number of high-paying jobs, insulating the local economy from things that might happen elsewhere. Next up, although you might be a little farther away from the mountains, as I mentioned earlier, you are not far from some really cool outdoor activities. Among them is Cherry Creek State Park, which features 880 acres of reservoir and popular sandy swim beach and a marina for boating. And then you also have the Aurora Reservoir, which is in the southeast corner of Aurora, I should say, down near some of the most popular communities in all of Aurora. The thing I love about Aurora Reservoir, no motors. A lot of paddle boarders, a lot of swimmers, great beach. Also, randomly, if you decide to get scuba licensed while you're in the state of Colorado, a lot of times, or at least around Denver, you'll go to Aurora Reservoir for your CERT dive, and it's, let's just say, pretty muddy. You don't see very much. It's not the greatest place to scuba, but that's where you go. What can I say? I like to share stories. And this brings waterfront recreation to your doorstep. I mean, you don't need to plan some multi-hour trip to some mountain lake. You can decide on a whim, here's where we're going. And again, in some of these communities in Aurora, you're within 5, 10, 15 minutes of either of these parks. Next up is that Aurora is home, or parts of Aurora, home to some elite school districts, elite schools. And let me be very clear, again, when we talk about the size of Aurora and the reputation, there are areas of Aurora that people will flock to for schools, just as there are areas of Aurora. You'll see a lot of economic discrepancies amongst Aurora. You'll see neighborhood discrepancies where, one neighborhood is pretty and prestigious and all the things, and then some that are more on the dangerous side, some that are more sketchy, schools that do not receive that same type of funding. That is a reality of Aurora. Just being transparent with you, this is a pretty optimistic video. Trust me, if you look at the library of videos I've made some videos that are not so optimistic. So having said that, within Cherry Creek, you have Aurora Public Schools, and that serves a large portion of the city. And again, you'll see this significant shift among Aurora Public Schools. At the same time, part of southern and southeastern Aurora, much of which is new development, is zoned by Cherry Creek School District. And Cherry Creek School District is one of the highest rated school districts in all of Colorado. This district is a perennial powerhouse, and it's got schools like Grandview High School, Cherokee Trail High School, and these, again, consistently rank towards the top of the state. And obviously this matters to people living there because this is the ultimate suburban hack. You get the leverage of, these top 5 nationally recognized school districts, and at the same time, you get, long-term home value, you get these solid educational outcomes. That's why, again, a lot of people are looking to Aurora. From a location standpoint, Aurora is also very popular for that proximity to Denver International Airport, and for a variety of reasons. A lot of people who need to come in and out of town routinely will look to Aurora. Obviously, with the airport being in Aurora itself, it's kind of on the northeast side of Aurora. But even if you're in southeast Aurora, say like a South Shore, Talons Reach, which we'll get into, you can jump on E470 and get to the airport pretty quickly. Yes, it is a toll road, something to be aware of. But again, that access to the airport is high on a lot of people's lists. Now, if we want to talk about some neighborhoods, and I know some people have a love-hate relationship or just a hate-hate relationship with HOAs, but there are areas of Aurora with thriving HOA communities that are really bringing, those amenities home, communities that people enjoy living in. So among them, and I mentioned very briefly, are areas like the Southlands, Talons Reach, South Shore, Blackstone. These are not just subdivisions. They are truly fully integrated communities. So the Southlands Mall, which was kind of the hub for all of this, is built around an outdoor lifestyle center. It's got an AMC theater. It's got dozens of restaurants, major retailers. You will hear feedback that there's a lot of big box stores or a lot of commercial, chain restaurants, if you will. But the Southlands Mall is a huge hub for that community. And this is also the community closest to the Aurora Reservoir, although South Shore has its own lake and saltwater infinity pool clubhouse. So if you're in the South Shore, some nice perks there. And the reason that people are flocking to this area is it really provides a lot of turnkey lifestyle. You don't want to do a lot of work to your home. You want to be in an area where you have all the things. The rec centers, again, the community that is integrated, it's right there in that area in the Southlands. Aurora is also home to a growing cultural scene, and that involves the arts to a large extent. You've got the Aurora Cultural Arts District, and this is the city's creative heart for Aurora. It's centered around East Colfax. It's home to working artist studios, galleries, and the beautifully restored 1940s era Fox Theater, and that hosts concerts, films, live performances, and this is a good time for us to talk about, again, Aurora's reputation that's not always so shiny. So one of the roads, one of the streets that you're going to hear about when Aurora gets brought up, same thing with Lakewood where I live, is Colfax. Oh yes, Colfax. We have West Colfax here in Lakewood. They have East Colfax in Aurora. And yes, there are parts of Colfax as you drive down it that don't exactly make you want to park your car, leave it unlocked, and go for a stroll at night. At the same time, it is also, both East and West Colfax, a hub of a lot of commerce, some of the best restaurants, some of the best art galleries and shops you're going to find. So when you hear that reputation, don't strictly stray away from it. I am a firm believer that it doesn't matter where you are. You could feel in the safest neighborhood in the world or the most dangerous. You need to be aware of your surroundings as best as possible. I just don't want you to check off the list an area to explore, whether it's for just a day trip or enjoying some of the amenities just because of a reputation you saw from a headline. That's a perfect opportunity to hit me up. If you want to know some specifics about an area, call me anytime, we'll chat about it. And not to get off on that tangent, but this is great because it gives Aurora its own soul. You know, it really proves the city is more than just this suburb of Denver. And I think a lot of times that's what Aurora gets lumped into, is as a suburb of Denver. Not necessarily the case. It has its own unique local entertainment, and it's really fostering this community pride. Playing into that, and one of the most popular aspects of Aurora is its incredible level of diversity, and especially from a Denver standpoint. Let's be real, while Denver has become a lot more of a melting pot, it is not a multicultural culture melting pot like a New York, a Miami, a Los Angeles. Aurora, by Denver standards, is high on the list of that diversity. It is really one of Aurora's defining characteristics. And we're not just talking about a mix of people. We're talking about over 160 languages that are spoken in these neighborhoods. And, you know, one of these epicenters of this, you know, cultural convergence, if you will, is Havana Street. So this is a corridor packed with authentic international markets. You've got H Market, which is Korean. You've got restaurants serving world-class Ethiopian, Vietnamese, Salvadorian, Mexican cuisine. I mean, you want good food in a city that takes a lot of flack for not having good food. You hit up that area, fantastic. And the feedback that I often get about that factor of Aurora, in difference, let's just be honest, to some of these other communities that don't feel as diverse, is that it creates this rich, vibrant living experience that's hard to find. You know, I mean, yes, we talk about food a lot, and food being a sign of culture, and I don't want to just minimize it down to the fact that, oh, you go to that side of town for good food. I mean, for families, it means you have children growing up in a community that reflects like the real world. You have, you know, different languages spoken around the neighborhoods. You've got different levels of education because of it. It moves you beyond this suburban bubble that you might get in other communities of the Denver metro. And what's more diverse to follow up with after that than to talk about the golfing in Aurora? I joke, all jokes aside, but Aurora is a bit of a golfer's haven and kind of unknown to this. So Aurora manages a fantastic and affordable municipal golf system. You got Murphy Creek Golf Course, that's a highly rated links style course. And then you've got Saddle Rock Golf Course, and that's more traditional. It's a challenging course, and it's actually hosted the Colorado Open before. And I often get feedback in my videos that I don't talk about golfing enough. As you can see, I don't play as often as I should, so I figured I'd better mention it here. And one of the last things to mention about Aurora is that strategic location and connectivity. So yes, you're on the east side of town. Yes, you have a bit more of a drive to get to the mountains, especially if you are east of Denver, where you have, just being real, the city in between you and the mountains. If you're north of Denver, at least the city, or south of Denver, your access to the mountains is usually pretty fast. You can get on a highway and get there. But other than that, Aurora has pretty quick access, depending on where you are, to I-70 to get east or west. You can jump on I-225, which is a north-south connector between I-25. You've got E-470, which is this major beltway. So E-470 will take you up to the airport, and I say up because it wraps around, so it heads north and south up to the airport. Or you can take it west, where it turns into C-470 on the other side of I-25. I'm just gonna label off a bunch of highways to you, and that will start taking you directly into the mountains, some different access points there. So you do have pretty close connection, again, to the airport. You've got quick access to Denver for the most part, unless you are in, say, a South Shore, where you get a bit distant from the city in general. And again, depending on where you are in the city, you still have a reasonable drive to the mountains. You're not taking an entire day to get up to the foothills. You're taking, let's say, an hour, hour and a half if there's some traffic. And this is important to people because at the end of the day, when folks move to Colorado, often the feedback I get is that we want to feel like we live in Colorado. And so I don't want to give anybody this idea that living in Aurora means you don't feel like you're Colorado living. You still see the mountains. You've still got some great outdoor activities. You still have access to Denver, the mountains, these amenities. Still a lot of quality of life to be had in Aurora. And so again, some of that reputation, good or bad, deserved, and I'm happy to talk all about it with you. My number and email coming up on the screen. Know that I'm always the person. Answer phone calls, answer your texts, answer emails. There, when and if you need me. This is Destination Denver, Colorado. That was 10 reasons to move to Aurora, Colorado. Until I see you next time, peace.